Chika tried her best to enjoy the newfound luxury, but she couldn't deny the creeping unease. One evening, after returning from one of her restaurants, she confronted Okoro again. "You've given us all this, but at what cost? The city is falling apart, Okoro, and you refuse to tell me where this money is really coming from." He sighed, irritated. "Do you always have to ruin everything with your questions, Chika? I'm taking care of us. What else do you want?" His tone was cold. The warmth in their relationship now buried under layers of secrecy. Chika backed off, but her mind continued to race with worry. It was clear to her now that Okoro was hiding something far darker than she ever imagined. The city's authorities were baffled, unable to track down the thieves responsible for the mass robberies. But Okoro continued to live lavishly, making massive purchases that raised even more eyebrows. "He just bought another estate," Okonkwo muttered to his wife as they passed by the now infamous mansion. The citizens of the city were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives, while Okoro's wealth seemed to multiply. Every night he disappeared for hours, returning just before dawn, while the city continued to lose its treasures without a trace. Chika watched in silence as Okoro's lifestyle became more reckless, her unease growing with each passing day as the weight of her husband's mysterious wealth began to feel like a curse rather than a blessing. "Where does this money really come from, Okoro?" she asked him again one night as they sat in their grand mansion. He chuckled, sipping a glass of whiskey. "Does it matter? We are rich now, Chika. Stop asking questions." The city buzzed with rumors of dark magic and strange occurrences. Okoro, however, continued his charade, soaking in the admiration and fear he had always craved. With his newfound wealth, Okoro's influence over people, especially women, grew stronger. Girls and women from all walks of life, even married ones, flocked around him, mesmerized by his money and power. His former landlord's wife, who once mocked him for his poverty, now shamelessly sought his attention. "Okoro, you've changed so much," she would purr, leaning closer than appropriate whenever they crossed paths. Okoro, reveling in his power, indulged in their attention. He had no shortage of women to keep him company. They admired his cars, his houses, and the life he led. "You're the most generous man in this city," they would whisper, giggling as they took in his extravagant gifts. But something strange began to happen. After spending nights with Okoro, these women would wake up to a grim reality. The money he showered them with, the stacks of cash left on their bedside tables, would be gone by morning, vanished just like the city's stolen valuables. "I swear I had 200,000 naira here," cried one of the women, tearing apart her room in search of the money. Others were too ashamed to speak out, confused by the airy disappearances. Okoro never mentioned it, of course. He moved on quickly, always with another woman on his arm. His charm, his wealth, and the thrill he offered were enough to keep his affairs quiet, but whispers of his strange behavior began circulating. "Have you heard? It's like magic," one of the women he slept with whispered to her friend. "He gives him money, but by the next day, it's all gone, like it was never there to begin with." Chika noticed this too. The women who once kept their distance now shamelessly hovered around her husband. Okoro, what are you doing with all these women? She confronted him one evening after overhearing gossip from one of the staff. What's gotten into you? Have you no shame? Okoro, lounging lazily in one of their luxurious living rooms, didn't bother to defend himself. What does it matter, Chika? They don't mean anything. His nonchalant tone angered her. Is this what our marriage has come to? Lies, secrets, and affairs? She demanded, her voice breaking. But Okoro was unbothered. I'm providing for this family in ways you could never imagine. You should be grateful, he replied coldly. Chika stood there, feeling the weight of her crumbling marriage, knowing that the man standing before her was no longer the man she once knew. Despite her disgust, Chika kept quiet, torn between her growing unease and the life of comfort Okoro had built. But the city's whispers grew louder. Then came the night when Chika woke up to find Okoro gone once again. Frustrated, she rose from bed and began pacing the house. As she walked into the living room, she stopped dead in her tracks. A large brown snail was slithering across the marble floor, leaving a slimy trail behind it. What on earth? She muttered. Instinctively, she grabbed a mortar pestle from the kitchen and smashed the snail. Suddenly, the room filled with a horrifying transformation. Where the snail had been, now lay Okoro, bleeding and gasping for breath. Oh my God, Okoro! Chika screamed, dropping to her knees. The house erupted with chaos as their 3 sons, housekeepers, cooks, and security guards rushed into the room. Call an ambulance! Chika yelled, her hands trembling as she tried to stop the bleeding. Okoro's eyes fluttered open as he began to speak, his voice faint. I went to see a juju man, he confessed. I wanted to be rich, Chika. I wanted it so bad. Tears streamed down Chika's face as she listened, unable to process the horror. He gave me a charm. He turned me into a snail at night. I've been stealing, Chika. That's how I got the money. I'm so sorry. The room fell silent as Okoro's confession sunk in. You did this to us? To the city? Chika's voice trembled with rage and disbelief. Okoro coughed, blood trickling from his mouth. Forgive me, please. Despite his pleas, the weight of Okoro's sins crushed the room in heavy silence. The guards finally carried him to the car, and Chika, still in shock, followed as they raced to the hospital. But it was too late. As they arrived at the emergency room, Okoro took his last breath. Chika collapsed into tears, her world shattered. The news of his death spread quickly, and with it, his shocking confession. The city was gripped by a new kind of fear, the kind that comes when the unimaginable becomes real. The ones Ahmed Okoro had built his empire on theft and dark magic, and now his legacy was forever tainted. The city streets buzzed with gossip and fear. The once untouchable figure who had seemed to rise from poverty to power was revealed to have used dark magic to achieve his wealth. People were horrified by the lengths he had gone to for riches, and fear settled in the hearts of many. Families whose homes had been ransacked now understood the strange slime trails found near their safes. "Did you hear? Okoro was the thief all along," people whispered. The mysterious disappearances of valuables were now linked to his nightly transformations. Many who had admired his rise to wealth now recoiled in disgust. "How could we have been so blind?" asked Nnamdi, one of the shopkeepers who had been robbed. But as the truth settled in, a deeper lesson emerged. People realized that Okoro's riches, gained through deceit and magic, had brought nothing but ruin. The city became a little quieter, a little wiser, and far more cautious about those who promised easy wealth. In the weeks following Okoro's death, Chika and her children tried to rebuild their lives, but the scars ran deep. The estates, cars, and other properties were seized by the authorities, and they returned to a modest home far from the luxury they once lived in. Chika, now the head of the household in every sense, resumed her work, selling buns and puff-puffs by the roadside, determined to teach her children the value of honesty and hard work. "We may have lost everything, but at least we still have each other," she told them one evening. The city slowly recovered from the trauma of Okoro's reign of terror, but the lessons remained. Wealth gained through deceit and treachery would always lead to ruin, no matter how high one climbed. Okoro's story became a cautionary tale told in hushed tones, a warning about the dangers of greed, deceit, and the hollow pursuit of wealth at any cost. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please like, share, and subscribe for more stories. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.